Meeting will come to order. I'd like to ask our superintendent to lead us in our pledge and prayer invocation this night.
Prayer of faith. Father, we just thank you, Lord, for the great opportunity is to receive your grace and your mercy. Lord, we just ask that your wisdom and guidance tonight as we discuss the business of the school board and make decisions and that we have to make. Lord, we just leave it upon you and just thank you, Lord, for your guidance and your refuge. Be with us now throughout this meeting, and may everything we say and everything we do be honorable and pleasing to you. That's in Jesus' name. Amen. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, are there any changes to the agenda at this time?
Move approval.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, any discussion first? Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Agenda is adopted. I'd like to take this time to welcome all our visitors here tonight. Looks like we've got a good crowd. Now, if anybody has any non-agenda item they'd like to bring up at this time, we can't necessarily vote on it, but we'd love to hear what you have to say, and this is the opportunity to do that. Don't all rush at one time. All right, we're going to move along. We have some very special school presentations tonight. One from Chiefland Middle High School and also from Bronson Elementary School. So, who wants to go first? Well, since they are the best, we will ask Bronson Elementary School, because you can't spell best without B-E-S to begin this tonight. Ms. Beecham, would you like to introduce
I
us?
would love to. Honorable Board, it's our pleasure to be here this evening, and I'd like to introduce this young lady to you. This is Miss Ashlyn Hannon, who is Bronson Elementary's Tropicana Speech Contest winner, but she is also the district Tropicana Speech Contest winner for elementary. So she's here and has a speech prepared for you on pet adoption. Animal adoption.
Animal abuse.
And dog use, okay.
It's been a long day.
Well, it's been a while since this speech was given. She's an excellent speaker, and I know there'll be great things to come for her in the future, and I'm sure that we'll be seeing a lot more of her speaking abilities as she gets to middle school and high school. So the floor is yours, Ashley.
I know this sounds unusual, but I'd like for you to do this for me, please. I need you to close your eyes and imagine yourself completely in a new place and unsure of how you got there or even where you are. You've been taken from your mother and other siblings and put in a cold, dark cage that you've never even seen before. You hear all these other animals making noises, so you begin to shake and miss the warmth of your mother. Now, I also want you to imagine that you stand by your pet line and let this starve on the side of the road. You're neglected, possibly abused, starving, dirty, and almost forgotten what it's like to have a warm bed or a reassuring pat on top of the head from your master. Okay, now open your eyes. Did that put a lump in your throat? Mine too. This is what it's like to be a stray, abandoned, or abused animal. Did you know that according to DoSomething.org, over 2.7 million shelter animals are put to sleep every year? Some perfectly healthy, perfectly lovable animals put to sleep simply because they are a bother to our everyday life. This isn't even counting the abused animals that never make it to the shelter. 2.7 million. That's madness. How can we possibly correct that? After some research, I narrowed it down to 3 impactful duties we owe to these animals' human beings. 1. Adoption. The ASPCA website says close to 2 million cats and dogs were adopted last year. And that's amazing. I applaud all the efforts of such organizations. But it's simply not enough. Which brings me to duty number 2. Spay or neuter your pets as soon as possible. This simply means they can no longer have babies. This alone can have a major impact into the animal population. This costs on average $45 to $100, depending on your situation. It might seem like a lot at first, but it's important as a pet owner. Finally, duty number 3. And I hate to be blunt, but pets are no accessories. They're not some purse or new shoes you can show off to your friends and then forget about when the next new thing comes along. Pets are a long-term commitment and need to be treated as such. This includes attention, food, and vegetables. I understand situations come up and leave little choices. So, take them to a no-kill shelter or rehome them to yourself with a loving, caring, safe family. If you need information about a no-kill shelter near you, trust me, I'll do whatever I can help you to find one. I hope this has opened your eyes to an ongoing problem around us. Please, please, for the sake of my heart and all those innocent animals out there, adopt, don't shop, spay, and neuter.
Mr. Etheridge has brought to our attention that since the Chiefland Middle High School individual was unable to be here tonight, that we do have a representative from Williston here tonight that might like to address us.
We got that under control.
Okay, all right. Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I didn't want to throw shade after I said the best is here.
Sometimes when you come to Williston, you don't have to tell them the best.
Yes, we would like you to come up so we can get some pictures of you. Not you, Tori. Not yet. Cheryl,
Yes.
Miss Beecham,
Yes.
you don't want me in here?
Do you want to do the flag?
Of course.
Come on up.
Miss Lake, have you met Ashlyn? So y'all need to talk, exchange numbers. So.
That's what I just said.
We have 5
So passionate about it.
They're talking about it behind my back, okay? I do own a tie, just shoes not on several. Thank you, great job. Yes, sir, Mr. Turner.
I did get permission from the chairman, Mr. Asbell. Young lady, you would be now proud to know that here 2.5 years ago in the city of Orlando, where my son and daughter-in-law live, they had a little bitty kitten that took up residence right outside their garage under a little tree. Well, she is allergic to any kind of cat hair. So 2.5 years ago, we brought that kitten back to Williston, and now as soon as I get out of bed in the mornings to do my daily routine, she pops in there. So we took yours to heart. Thank you.
And thank you for that speech, and we know you have big things to do tomorrow, so if you feel like you need to go, you're welcome to stay. But if you want to take this time to ease on out, because there's big things tomorrow, you got to go to school early, we're okay with that. Okay, our next item of business has to do with our master board update. We got 2 more to speak. Do we? Oh, she said she's got that taken care of. Williston people always just
I
say
did
open.
what I want to live up there.
That's right.
I'm sorry.
We just love CT, Miss Carol. We're just trying to.
Saving
It's
that?
ready for it, I know.
All right, so our friend from the Northeast, Miss Nicholson, is here tonight with her bling and all its glory to speak with us. Come on in, ma'am.
My name is Tina Pinkerson. I am the Director of Leadership Services for the Florida School Boards Association. And I happen to live just right across the way in Gainesville. But it is my pleasure to be with probably 5 of my favorite school board members in the state this evening, and your fantastic superintendent. But what I'm here to do is present this award to your school board. It's a Master Board Award. And what this means is that your leadership team, which is what we call the school board and the superintendent, have gone through 22 hours of training together to learn how to effectively work together so they can impact student achievement here in Levy County. That's the most important thing. And what this says to the citizens of Levy County is that your board and your superintendent are committed to the students in your district by improving and learning what their roles are and, you know, adding to their knowledge base. So it's great. They're always here. They're always a part of the Master Board program. And because of that, you know, you see great things from Levy County. So it is indeed my pleasure to present you guys with this plaque. And so I'm hoping that all of you will come and we'll have a picture made together.
Okay. I'll stay on here.
Are you, no, you come over here.
I won't be back, I won't be back to blink. That's
That's what I'm worried, a little, you know, y'all need to hold this. Okay.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Good flashes.
You look like a model.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. Thank you. Favorite, that's what I said, favorite. Anybody that puts up with Cameron has to be my favorite.
Now look here.
My favorite.
You are only allowed to be here on special request. Miss anybody likes to have on that.
I'm just glad to be here.
We all know I'm your favorite.
That's your secret ingredient.
Recognizing he said we means he must have a mouse in his pocket.
We're going to move on with our meeting. At this time, we'd like to ask Carol Joan DuBois, how would you like to say it?
It's two boys. Boys.
Jones,
You always going to be Jones to me, whatever you've been the most, how I know.
Well, I've probably been a Jones longer than I'll ever be of the boys, right?
That's yours.
I'm not gonna live to be 104, so.
Well, we'll turn it over to you at this time.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
It is wonderful to be here tonight. Tonight we want to say, celebrate today and own tomorrow. What a great idea and a practical way of showcasing career and technical education. Tonight, as we focus on celebrating the value of career and technical education, we know that our CTE students will own tomorrow with the skills learned and the opportunities that are made available to them through career and technical education. Those opportunities come because we have a board that supports career and technical education, and we want to thank you for that at this point before we go any further. If I ask you to reflect on the value of CTE, what would you say? What do you think is the most important element of our career and technical education programs? Would you say that students have real-world hands-on experience? Would you say that students can participate in FFA, FBLA, and HOSA? Or would you say that students can earn college credit and an industry certification? Or maybe you would say it helps students learn a skill and get a real job. Reflect a little longer on what you think is most important, and we will come back after we have a couple of student presentations to your thoughts. First, I would like to introduce Natalie Cooey. She is the advisor of the FFA Williston Middle School program, and she is going to introduce our first speaker and tell us about some exciting news from the Williston Middle School FFA chapter.
We're going to stand up here if that's okay, because Tori wants this big to talk. But I'm Natalie Cooey. I'm the middle school FFA advisor in Williston. Tori is an 8th grade student in our ag program. Tori is one of our officers. She's very active in FFA and competes in several contests. The one that she'd like to showcase with you today is called extemporaneous public speaking. And it's kind of funny, when Tori and I were talking about this, when she, at the beginning of the school year, she said, I want to try extend. That's what we call it for short. I was like, okay. And then not another word until sub-district's about to roll around. So she'd been doing some research on her own and getting ready. We had never practiced extend, never practiced. And if you know FFA, we practice hardcore. So she never practiced, and she showed up to the sub-district contest and she won. And so we had sub-districts in December, and then we prepared for districts, which were in January, and she also did very well and won that contest as well. So the next step is her state contest, which will be in June at the Florida FFA Convention in Orlando. Just a little background on how extemporaneous public speaking works. It's unique in the fact that when the students get to the contest, they have no speech prepared. They don't know what their speech is on until they arrive. And so there are 18 topics that are kind of put in a hat, and each student that is participating gets to go up to the facilitator and pull out 3 topics. They have about a minute to read the topics and choose one. And then once they have chosen their topic, they're placed into a holding room, and a timer set for 30 minutes. They have to prepare their speech, somewhat memorize it, and get it ready to go in front of the judges. She doesn't have a computer, so she can't do internet research, but she has 5 resources that she can take with her. They can be magazines, they can be books, they can be publications that did come offline, but she has to pull them ahead of time, not knowing what her topic's going to be. So at that point, in her 30 minutes, she has to prepare a 3 to 5 minute speech that she does present to a panel of judges, and then once she presents her speech, they can ask her questions for up to 5 minutes. So she has to have a little bit of background of what she wants to say, or you have to wing it if you're not quite sure what the answer is. But Tori does a really good job. Her topic today that she's going to present to you, and then it was something that she didn't know about, so we had to push her to do some research. Her topic is, how will cultured meat affect the cattle industry? So I'm going to turn it over to Tori.
From the beginning of time until the end of time, the world's necessities will always continue to change. But society will always, without a doubt, rely on one major industry: agriculture. Every day, we consume agriculture. Whether we are vegetarians or not, agriculturists will always continue to grow and produce beef. Cultured beef, the new way of lab-growing beef, started by animal rights activists who believed in not slaughtering animals to produce beef. This was done by extracting muscle strips from cattle, a way that is equivalent to a biopsy. Once the muscle tissue is extracted, myotubes form, which are mere 0.3 millimeters each. The myotubes are then placed around a gel, which helps stimulate and grow to then become muscle tissue. After a single piece of tissue is formed, we can then produce over 1 trillion pieces. When these pieces are layered together, it then grows to become beef. The ultimate end goal of this lab-grown beef is to have meat that is accessible to everybody, but does not come with the problems associated with conventionally produced meat. This was stated by a researcher of Memphis Meats. It took $330,000 to produce the first single patty of beef. In my mind, I know that when I go to a grocery store, these patties of beef will be overpriced for the average family, meaning the average family will end up going to McDonald's to buy a cheaper meal. Instead of creating bizarre meat, we need to find cheaper ways to produce and market beef so that it actually is accessible to everyone. As I mentioned, the process of how to produce cultured meat, 20,000 muscle cells are extracted for one single patty of beef. I know that the average weight of cattle is 1,500 pounds. So if you multiply 20,000 muscle strips by 40 beef patties, that is going to lead to 80,000 muscle strips having to be pulled for just 40 patties of beef. I know that out of the 1,500 pounds that an average cattle weighs, 63 to 40% of that is muscle, meaning that cattle will end up dying either way, even by slaughtering. You need cattle either way, so there will always be a need for our industry. This lab-grown meat will only show how strong our beef industry is. I know from my own production of cattle that I can reproduce and have more and more cows from just the first cow I started with. The process of delicious and real beef cannot be done in a lab, nor can the reproduction of cattle. Why wouldn't we spend more time on solving cancer and issues that need to be solved, rather than beef that has already fed so many people? Thank you.
Excellent job, Ms. Twain.
Thank
so
you.
much. I've already learned something tonight. I was confused at the topic from the very beginning.
I think the first time Tori was standing at Livestock Judge last Thursday, and we were talking about, I think you all were talking about the new meatless meat trend thing that's going on. So I'm telling you, this middle school kid a week ago, I don't even think had heard about this topic. She just explained it.
I had not
Good job.
noticed. It was pretty
She's from Wilson too.
Excellent, excellent.
I know it's wrong.
I was just gonna say, Taylor's gonna say you knew it wrong.
Almost forgot.
Had to take some Bronson and Wilson to class it up. That's what happened. Good job, Desiree.
Don't be vain. So next, we do have to get to the other side of the county. I came here tonight to talk about county rivalries or anything, but we have Chelsea Parker and Cheyenne Walker from Chiefland Middle High School. They are in the Health Academy and under the instruction of Ms. Kelly Beecham. They're going to share with you a little bit about the Health Academy program and the nursing program there.
I'm Cheyenne Walker. I'm the HOSA president at Chiefland High School.
I'm Chelsea Parker. I am the HOSA treasurer at Chiefland High School.
So what is HOSA?
Health Occupation Students of America. There are 218,000 national HOSA members and 15,700 Florida members, which means that the Chiefland chapter has 80 members.
Because of HOSA dues being $30 and competition fees being $25 per person, we fundraise every opportunity we get. For example, this year we've already done a sale of Krispy Kreme donuts, we've sold Indian yard signs and football games. We've done a concession stand at a face show, we're selling candy grams for Valentine's Day, and on Friday we're having a middle school dance. All of this money goes towards HOSA fees for each student so that they don't have to worry about how much they're paying out of pocket.
This picture is of some of the juniors preparing to take the EMT course in Central Florida. EMTs come a few times a year and they help provide hands-on experience for these students.
I believe those two on the left might be former HOSA students.
They are.
They are Mark and Mike Fowler.
In this picture, they're actually teaching her how to put an IV into a dummy arm, I guess. They come to try to persuade us to take the EMT course at the college because it's free as a dual enrollment student.
This picture, a sophomore is practicing intubating a patient, which helps a person breathe through a tube during difficult circumstances.
That's Mike Fowler. He's one of the HOSA students that graduated a few years ago. Here we have Chelsea. She's practicing some of her CNA skills. She's practicing how to empty and measure a urinary drainage bag. The CNA test, we've had multiple students that have already taken it, and we're having some that are waiting to take it.
In order to qualify for the CNA exam, each applicant must have at least 40 hours of training. These hours cannot go towards Bright Future community service hours because they are just considered training. So we complete these hours at AIRS by volunteering to AIR.
This is a picture of the other side of this is the classwork part. We have a book that we have to finish in the semester. Here's 2 more seniors. They're practicing range of motion, which is almost guaranteed to be on the test. Like I said earlier, some of our students have already taken it and passed. I think we have 5 already that have passed in our CNA, so that they can go out and work field right after high school and get a job.
This picture is of Camp Kalakwa. Each year we have officers go, and it's a leadership camp, which helps us become better leaders, better healthcare professionals, and better people in general.
Here's our funny picture because we know how to have fun. So.
This picture is the officers spending quality time together before we go to Camp Kalakwa.
And Camp Kalakwa again, it really shows us how to connect with other people, and these are a couple of our friends that we met there, and we still talk to them today, and that was back in October. So it really helps us connect.
This picture is also of some of the officers. We all went together to do a bonding retreat, and we carved pumpkins together for Halloween.
These are all of our competitors. We have competitions at state, regional, and local or national level. That's one of the reasons we do so much fundraising. It costs $25 just to compete here, but all of our competitors, we have several that are going to compete at state in April.
This picture is of the creative problem-solving group. They actually placed 5th in their class.
This is us and Jessica, one of our friends. We're all going to compete at state.
This is a few of the seniors posing for during our annual Secret Santa that we have.
And this is our last picture. It's again showing that we really do know how to have fun. We're not just all classroom and all bookwork. We also we know when to be serious and when to know when to have fun. That's all of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Delaney, I was going to tell you, he told me that his son is actually at Gainesville High School and is in the health academy there.
Yeah, they have a big. They're big in the host there.
And his son's going to state convention too, competing in.
PSA?
Okay. Yeah, we have one girl that did it last year, but she graduated. So.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So it's kind of a neat thing to see what's happening, across the district. In addition to the comments made by these students, I'd like to share that we are doing a few new and exciting things. For example, the digital design program at Chiefland High School has added banner printing making and 3D printing in their digital design program. And it's really exciting to watch Cedar Keys agriculture program grow down there. They added poultry last year, and what have we added this year, Mr.
Oh, we have goats.
We have goats, so they have livestock. On the island. So, on campus, that went home at Christmas and have now returned. And another thing that I am really, really excited about this year is the carpentry program at Bronson is really taken off. And I see some really good opportunities ahead for that program and for those students. And Cameron's been a huge supporter, and I thank you. We really, really appreciate the support that's going in there. Those students, we have a lot of students from across the district tomorrow that are either going to Santa Fe College for their construction day event, or they're going to Jacksonville to an event that the Department of Transportation is actually hosting on careers in construction. So Kelly Barnes is taking that group to Jacksonville, and Mr. Johnston's taking 34 students to Santa Fe College tomorrow for construction day in Florida. There's always work, to be done and areas of improvement necessary because career and technical education is continuously changing. Obviously, that was evident tonight. The 340 industry certifications awarded last year will continue to grow through continued hard work and dedication on the part of teachers and students. In addition to the weighted funding, we hope that will also continue to grow. But more importantly, new skills will be needed to master the new careers that are developing to meet the demands of our ever-changing world. So now, you've had some more time to reflect. What do you believe to be the most important elements of career and technical education?
All of them.
Opportunity.
Speaking of opportunity, would you mind asking if these young ladies told us what their future plans are?
I think it's an excellent.
I'm actually already a CNA, but I plan to go to a university to major in sociology and become a social worker.
Very good.
I am waiting to take my senior test, but I have already decided to go to Santa Fe, and I want to major in biology.
What about you, Tori?
I want to be a lawyer.
Hold talk. Wow, man, come on now. That's awesome,
Pardon me?
Is there a masonry program?
That we do not have a separate masonry program. Our carpentry program at Bronson is somewhat diversified when we get into year 4. They let those students have the opportunity to sort of dabble in different elements. They are doing some concrete work over there, I think this week as a matter of fact, but there's not a separate program. They do explore those other avenues. They'll do heating, ventilation, and air. They'll do some masonry. They'll do some electrical. But we don't have a separate program. You know, when back in the day, career and technical education funding was very different than it is today. For those of us that were in school back then, that weighted funding was called Program 300. And so students in that program generated more funding than a student sitting in an English class, which is Program 100. And the funding now is dead even. So when it was a 300 and it was generating 3 times as much funding, you could run a masonry program and afford to have a teacher with 30 kids all day long. We can't do that because now they're not funded. It's not weighted that way. The state has provided a little bit of compensation to us with the weighted funding that we get from these industry certifications. And you know, you guys will be able to take a look at some of the benefit of that just tonight, in that the teachers, and this is not the most important benefit, but it is a nice little ice, you know, little cherry on top. The teachers who have students earn an industry certification get some bonus funding. They either get $25 or $50 for each industry certification that a student earns, depending on the type of certification. But we also get weighted funding to come back into the programs. And so the students mentioned this industry certification, and that's powerful. These students walk out with the CNA guys, they start at $14.75 an hour at AIRS. They hire our students before they ever graduate. That's powerful, but it's expensive. And so the weighted funding does support that. That was a few numbers for our students that are taking all the Microsoft Office certifications and the Adobe certifications. Before they even test, we have $26,000 tied up just in the licenses. The program, the training program, and the vouchers to take the test. For our ag students who earn the agricultural certification exams, last year we paid right at $13,000 just for those certification exams. So the weighted funding does pay for that, and that's a big bonus for our students. They leave able to go to work, but the other big bonus for those industry certifications is a lot of those certifications actually equal college credit. I don't ever have to go to that college class, but when I show up and I enter into an AS degree program, boom, I've got 3 credits in an introductory course. I don't have to pay the tuition for that. I don't have to buy the book for that. I don't have to waste my scholarship money on that class. So some certifications are worth 6 college credits, some are worth 3. All that information is available on our website. Look for us on the school board website.
How do we determine what we offer?
How do we determine what we offer? There's a couple of, several variables. Most importantly is the staffing allocation, the staff that we have. But what we also consider is we are strong partners with our workforce partners. CareerSource, we meet with CareerSource, matter of fact, I have a meeting with them on Friday. But we pay attention to what they call the targeted occupation list. Where are the future careers? And because Mr. Witt, we can't be so specific in our training because we don't have the staff or the funding for that. We try to have programs that provide our students with a strong foundation that are broad enough that our students can go and become skilled in a specific area. So for example, the Administrative Office Specialist program, that's a basic business type program. But the skills they're learning, there's not a job out there that's not going to require these students to have those skills. So that gives them that leverage to go right in with those basic computer skills, business skills, software publishing skills, whatever the softwares are. We try to stay up to date with the latest and greatest. You know, we're at Microsoft 2016. We do all of the Adobe certifications. So we try to keep it, you know, fairly narrow. If we were at Gainesville High School, we would have more than just a nursing assistant program. But that's what we have because it provides that broad base for the student. We don't necessarily have a respiratory therapy program or a dental hygiene program.
We are actually working on getting farm food tech.
We are.
We'll probably have that next year. She's got a grant.
That's going to be an industry certification opportunity for our students to work on, but that's going to be under the umbrella of the nursing assistant allied health assistant. We won't have a separate program.
And we actually have the EMR, emergency medical funding, for doing that right now.
Absolutely. That's the one thing our teachers are doing. They're working real hard to find those additional certifications that they can spend some extra time on. They have to spend extra time on their own for some of these certifications. We just in December rolled out a new certification for our agricultural students. Each year we find a few new ones, but this is a basic Agricultural Association certification that is for our students that come through just the first year course, Ag Foundations. We rolled it out. It was a little tough, but we're pretty excited about that. So always looking for those new opportunities. I would say that our teachers work very hard at doing that. And the students do too, because like I said, it's extra time for them. There's not enough class time for them to do CNA, EMR, or pharmacy without them putting in a lot of extra time on their own.
Dr. Hall, I'm sure you'll be interested in talking to this young lady when she gets that social worker. I haven't quite done this yet.
Yes, ma'am.
As this program grows, are we going to have enough classrooms to provide these classes? I have a reason for asking this. Are we going to have classroom facilities enough?
I believe that we do. We've been blessed at Williston. We got beautiful facilities, and I think we have a little bit of room to grow. I think we could. I will say that their business teacher, she actually is occupying is right now 2 classroom spaces, but she has 46 and 47 students in her classes, so it takes the space. But you know, yeah, I don't know. You know, that would be more of a.
The reason for that is someone approached me and asked me about the Williston High School and the buildings that they're trying to sell. It's perhaps maybe some of those buildings before they were sold, maybe they might be used for those types of
I think it would
construction.
depend. Our biggest challenge right now with those old facilities is there's not enough juice in them to run the technology and the equipment.
There's buildings there, you have to choose whether you want heat or electric, heat or computers.
Right, no, at some point, they just asked me that, well, that's a good idea, but maybe the gym would be a good facility to keep along with the old band room and the home ec room. I know the rest of it may not be quite up to speed.
Yeah, our
It
challenge.
was just a question that somebody.
We blow breakers all the time when we start, particularly like at Chiefland High School, for example. We blow the breakers all the
Have
time.
you been to the new school? Have you toured the new school yet, the campus?
Me, no, I have not.
I think you'd be impressed. With the-
Really amazing.
Oh, I'm
with the-
sure.
With the vocational,
It's
career technical education opportunities. It's amazing.
Any other questions?
I have a question. How many students do we have in CTE?
Oh, I was afraid you asked that, and I should have looked that up. I am so bad at numbers. My mother dropped me on my head, and it messed up the right side of my brain, which does numbers.
People mess up the verbal stuff.
No, the left side is really good. That's the left side. It's the truth. I tell people that's the truth. It has to be the truth.
That's your difficult.
You know, I really hate to be venture a guess. I had this data pulled at the beginning of the year, and I had it pulled by the number of students enrolled in the CTE class, knowing that there are duplications there because we have students in multiple classes. And so we were around 13. But if that's, I'm sorry.
I just want to illustrate the value of some of these industry certifications. My daughter, her senior year at the University of Florida, applied for an internship in Washington, D.C. She got the internship because she was the only student that was Adobe certified, Microsoft Office certified of all college students that applied. So that's why, because what she got, the chief of high school through CTE, that's why she got the internship in Washington, D.C.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, for a wonderful presentation.
Thank you, and thank you. to
Y'all
our
may not
students.
remember this, but this is not Cheyenne Walker's first time being here. She was big time March Dimes kid and came and made a presentation years ago. You still do that?
I don't anymore, but I saw them try.
Are y'all about the 5K, might run thing?
For HOSA?
Yes.
No, sir.
All right, we will take a few minutes to let y'all ease out because school is tomorrow.
Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's right, Valentine's Day is tomorrow.
Thank you.
Y'all did an excellent job.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Good to see you.
You just say it.
Anyway, I'm not ready.
We're gonna get a picture.
All right. Moving on. Has everyone had a chance to read over the minutes? Are there any changes requested?
Thank you.
Second.
A motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll now move on to our consent agenda. Are there any changes to the consent or addition to? We'll start down here with Mr. Hedges.
I had one, but Ms. Jones just made reference to that for the CTE, for those teachers that were involved with that. I think that's a great thing. That was all the comment. My other questions have been answered. Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Turner.
No questions, thank you.
Mrs. Brooks.
Most of mine have, but I don't know this one. Number 7 on the general items, request permission to change the official payroll due date. I'm just wondering why.
That's a past practice that we always try to do with to do that. We always, payroll falls out there in the middle of, at the end of spring break. And we always try to get paid.
We do it to month employees, and normally it's on the payroll calendar and bills realized that I forgot to add it this month.
Okay, all right. Sorry, I know that. Remember that happened. I just I think all the other questions have been answered. Thank you.
Mr. Coward.
I'm good. Thank you very much.
Mr. Attorney, do you have anything to offer? I haven't. Oh, let's finish this one. Okay, we'll finish this, we'll go back to that. All my questions have been answered, so I will entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any other further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We will go back now. We have the minutes from the special legislative platform session workshop. Need a motion?
So moved. Approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve those minutes. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Superintendent?
First off, I just want to welcome somebody back. Look back there in the back, we got Bruce Greenlee. Just let you know, he still has his barbecue business, but it's not heavy bees anymore, it's welterweight bees. So, and he's fixing to be lightweight, I understand. Okay. Also, last week we had the passing of a longtime Lee County educator, Harvey Markham, and Sandy went to that viewing, so it was last week. Do want to thank everybody for your commitment and everything, the work that we did at legislative days. We've gotten a lot of doors this time. We have not been in, I think, the agenda that y'all set forth I do think we gained a lot of traction for our priorities and priorities of the county school district, and I think that we're going to have some folks lined up behind us on some of these things. So that was good work. We have, one of our priorities is the new Chief Middle High School. We have a scheduled educational plant survey by DOE, that'll be done in the week of March 5th. And also, I know the calendar committee met last week, and they're putting together, I haven't seen it yet, but people on the calendar is going to go out to vote, and that'll be on your next board agenda on Wednesday. Okay.
Excellent.
Board comments, I know everybody has a lot to say, so. First off, we took some kids to Tampa Saturday, competed in livestock judging contest. Both for Wilson teams qualified, I think Chiefland qualified. They came in right behind Wilson.
Oh, right behind us.
But we had some kids,
But you know, you're the standard that they all shoot for,
as
so
long as they're still following us.
they're working hard.
That's right. I said about a month ago in here that we had gone to Tallahassee a couple times, and then we did the focus and had a special meeting towards it. That I had helped lobby outside of the school board realm, and it's like totally different. And I felt like for 2 years we had not really. And I'll tell you, our superintendent and everyone, our lobby group that we met with that helped us in that process, Gary Robinson, tremendous group, total different outcome. I've lobbied Tallahassee and Washington. I think our last week's session was probably one of the most successful one that I've ever been a part of. But we went with a focus, organized. Superintendent did a great job of getting that stuff put together. We didn't take much time from people, and they appreciate that. And I've left Tallahassee a handful of times and thought we made an impact and a difference, and I sure think we did last week. I think we'll see some change, not necessarily in legislation with our name all over it. It doesn't really matter as long as it's better for the kids. That said, there's a lot of work left to be done in the future. I think we left with as many follow-ups as, and I think the last part about that is now and I'll quit about it, but it's good to go sit in that room with a legislator, with your superintendent sitting with you, and everybody on the same page together, all focused, and everybody talking at the same voice. Not a lot of school boards do that. I don't know if you know that or not, but I've learned that that's not always the way it is. That's it.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Turner?
One comment. Thank you, Ms. Jones, for that very informative presentation, you and the students. I would ask you to please continue, in the vein of getting more and more and more involvement. I think there's a recognition nowadays that I have not seen in a number of years that all students are not going to college for a, bachelor, master's, and whatever. And the more we can focus on the career technical education, I think is a good deal for leadership and our students. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mrs. Brookins?
Well, I'm certainly going to follow Brad on that. And I know I've been up there lots and lots of times and been on the board a long time. And it just does seem like we go to Tallahassee, we do present, we're always asking for something. I feel like we go up there and we have to give it our all and we have to try. But I come home a lot and think, wow, was that effective? Or once you're there, they change their mind about, what you're talking about and what we went up there, our issues. But it was night and day. It was extremely effective. It was efficient. Every minute was busy. We saw more people than we've ever seen when we've gone up there to, present our points and our purpose for our county and our students. And it was terrific. It was a great feeling. It was, you like to know that the money you spent, your tax dollars, was really worth it. And I can 100% say that it was so effective and so good. And we were all unified. We were all great together. It worked. We had our 3 points. We just took a little bit of time. And then we all agreed that we're going to do another time and we're going to do a little follow-up in the summertime. And we're going to go back up there and talk with them during their workshop times. And it just was a great trip. And thank you all, because it really was. We enjoyed it. But
And then also I'd like to remind everybody that we have the Chiefland FFA chili cook-off and cake auction on this Friday at 6 p.m. Please come and join us. It's going to be a great time. It's always well attended, well supported, and they a lot of great cakes. And with that said, would y'all like to bring that one? Cool.
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, sure, okay. I'll do that.
Not that we're anticipating paying you, but just a minute.
Bye.
You just all want to bring it here for us.
And I did hear about some students coming back and all the good things they did at the fair too. I can't just quote, what they did and exactly, and I really didn't hear it right behind Williston, but, proud of all of them. But thank you very much, that's all I have.
Mr. Coward?
Not to beat the horse, so I guess I think we had a much more laser-focused approach this year, and I think having our public workshop, although it wasn't well attended, I think the more that we can do that and get out, and I think there's no doubt that it was a wise decision by this board and the superintendent to use Gray Robinson. They were able to open some doors for us, and appreciate that. Also appreciate that the fact that we were able to sit there and Cameron can use me and because I can't see over the fence because I'm short, so it's in accommodations stories. So, but
I'll tell y'all in a minute.
Yeah, just like Cameron can tell.
So it's I think what we did was not to really make a joke, but we opened some eyes. And we started the conversation on things that we know are not going to be changed overnight. But I believe we were able to get the ear of people that have not only policy, but also budget people. And I think that was a very, very positive for us this year. So I appreciate the superintendent and staff's hard work on getting our little 3 priorities, knowing that, as we said before, we don't go and build schools every day. We do it through special facilities and trying to start that process. And also understanding what our kids need to get them the accommodations that they need when they're taking state tests. So I think we have both kind of a two-pronged, both an ask and something to say, here's how we can help you understand what our need is. So appreciate that. Gala is this weekend, so we'd love to see if you haven't got your tickets. So there may be a few single seats. There may be a few single seats. So three. So see Mr. Turner, he can put you in contact with the right person. So just appreciate all the hard work that goes to that. I echo that. I really came away our trip to Tallahassee with a different. Now, there's still work to be done, and there's a horrible bill in 7055, and also the Hope Scholarships, which I think, we've got to continue to show how this is going to affect our school, our kids here in Lincoln County. So we would just keep being diligent with that. So, but I appreciate everybody's hard work.
Just say the hopes.
Yeah, that could have been a slip, so it's rolling in, and I really hope, so I asked the superintendent if we could get staff to kind of start really analyzing. The 7055 did pass the House. Our hope is to try and work on it in the Senate. We'll see what we can do to kind of use that. So, but we definitely need to, I know there's some FADS analysis on it, so the Superintendent's Association, but really trying to get ahead of this before it comes out of session, so we can get an idea, that way we can possibly get back up there to let the Senate know how damaging it's going to be.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
I'm gonna beat a dead horse like everybody else. And here's why. Everybody's heard me complain about going to Tallahassee because I hate the dog and pony show. The dog and pony show that I hate comes from one of the first trips I ever made up, where we went and saw this senator who talked to us about county commission things he didn't want to hear from us, and didn't even want to get a picture of me with him and being his best friend, and I have a problem with that. I want to go up there and tell you, I voted for you, I expect this, this is our need. We did that this year. And I felt great coming out of it. I couldn't stay as long as the others did, but I felt great coming out of it. But more importantly than that, I want to thank these good folks that I work with. And here's why. If you've heard me before, you know I am passionate, quite extremely passionate about the accommodations for children on state testing. They are also passionate about this. They let me share that passion with them. And we got to see reactions. And it's amazing. And I'll tell you, this is what you have in your legislators. I want you to know this. They make decisions every day that affect our children. You would think that if you had, you would think they would be like us. You would think they would go, wow, this affects kids. I need to really pay attention. So when you bring something to them, and they just look at you and go, I had no idea. They are shocked at this. I've gotten a phone call from one that we didn't see. He said, I've heard about this, I was unaware. I want you to know what y'all are trying to do is huge. Others will hear about this and get behind it. I expect to see great things. That's because of these good people. That's because of them. All because they see the need. Now, I tell you that to tell you the story. Because you need to know. All right? When they would not understand, and here's the thing. IEP students, they can waive out of it. 504 kids can't waive out of state testing. Here's where it's unfair. And we stood up, and I won't do it. I just happened to have Chris beside me. I said, here's what you need to understand when it comes to these 504 students and why it is unfair. Suppose Chris and I are given the assignment to go to the local football game and watch the game and report on what we see. But we cannot get into the game, we have to stand behind the fence. The fence is a privacy fence. And through no fault of his own, he's about 5 to 6 inches shorter than me. He can't see the field. I can. He's not allowed any accommodation. He will fail through no fault of his own. But what would it hurt to give him something to stand on that makes him equal with me? When you say it in that simplest of terms, they get it. Every day we punish kids for something they cannot help because we don't allow them that level playing field with their peers. And that's all we're asking. And I think it is wonderful. I appreciate y'all. And I appreciate the opportunity to go up there with y'all. And I can't wait to go back. That's something you never hear out of me about going to Tallahassee. Now, I would also like to take this time to remind y'all that on the 24th will be the 23rd. Well, it's a Friday, whatever day it is. That 23rd, 24th, what day is it? 23rd, the Bronson FFA Food Fest will be that day. And we will be selling the best cakes. You can come over and join us
You
for
probably
y'all.
have some of the same ones.
Probably. And I go ahead and tell you, I'm going to be buying some cakes. Anybody want to kick in with me? I'll make sure your name is called. And we would love to have it. And with that being said, anybody have anything else you need to bring up at this time? Mr. Lott's cooking. Mr. Lott, you're cooking?
Yes,
What are we cooking there, Mr. Lott?
probably pork.
All right. Oh, Mr. Lott, just talk about
Culture meat.
guys with some meat.
Mr. Etheridge, if you want to donate, I'll be glad to cook that too.
Yes. Yes, sir.
What were your, besides the Chicken Middle High School, what were the other, and what did you do on Chicken Middle High School? Were they going to put you on special facilities?
We're working to get in there. Go ahead.
There's a process.
There is a process.
Yeah, right now, we will be making the application in June. Right now, essentially what we're saying is, this is our number one priority, and we want to get it on your radar, because you're talking a $35 million project. And so we want to start garnering support for that now. And
So the next session?
next session, we will be doing the application. And the session after that is when we'll be looking at funding.
So was it well received?
Very well received.
Very well received.
From a person who's never been a part of that, and there were before, but I watched the response from the representatives and senators to say, you're doing it right. You're doing it, you're getting out front of it, you're letting us know it's coming, you're making the arena right, and most of all, the due diligence all be done beforehand so we don't have surprises at the end or middle of the project. Financially, like DOT work or something that was not anticipated at the end of the project.
And then the next was safe school funding.
And then currently in the Senate budget run, there's a minimum of $250,000 of safe schools funding. And that means a lot to like Lee County and other districts, small rural districts. Our allocation this year is $171,000. We overspend our safe schools funding every year about $40,000.
What do you use that for?
Well, it's school resource officers that help pay for them, crossing guards, cameras, fences.
Keeping children safe in school.
Yeah.
That's
So what we're asking is for, and in the Senate, in the House run, I think the bottom is $62,000. So what we're asking, we're not asking to increase the funds, but we're asking them to adopt the Senate proposal and fund the rural school districts at $250,000 base.
And then the third thing was, we want children that need accommodations, that get accommodations in classrooms, to have those same accommodations in state standardized tests.
And I can tell all this to you.
By law.
We're starting,
They have learning qualifying disability, kids with qualifying disability. By law, they are allowed to have accommodations in class, but then when they roll over to take state tests, some of those accommodations are not allowed on state tests.
It would be, for example, you have a reading prescription or eyeglass prescription. You have to take the test without your eyeglasses.
Is that fair?
That's
where we're at.
Mr. Witt, because I know you're performing great. We sat with a legislator last week in Florida, in Tallahassee, and asked us where Levy County was. Okay, so the educational process, well, all you're doing the whole time you're there is basically educating. And she goes, well, I know some of these safe school or school districts raise their funds for safe schools through their parking meters and parking tickets. I said, ma'am, I'm pretty sure there's not a parking meter anywhere in the county. You can count the red lights we have on our hands in the county. So the educational process, Chris, of doing it and doing it in the right way and not offensively, I mean, we're talking to people that are making laws for us and have absolutely no idea where we live. Zero.
the other comment was, okay, so we raised your base to 250, what would you like us to cut? So that's kind of the climate, but I think it really was, it was eye-opening and it created good dialogue. And because with the super and some of the questions that we have, I think we're going to have the opportunity to speak with DOE to kind of possibly work on some of these accommodations. And then if we can't get resolved through that way, because we've gone ahead and started the process with our legislators to say, we tried to work with DOE, we can't get resolved for DOE, even though, you know, technology is new, it's time, there's probably going to be a new education chancellor, a new governor. Now's a great time to have the conversations about what can we do to level the playing field for our students. So if we can't get resolved that way, then we can circle back and we can say, Senator Bradley, Representative Stone, we tried talking with DOE, could you help us with some kind of statute that would help level the playing field?
There was a 755, what is 7055?
That would be a 200-page bill where they rolled all kinds of things into it, so with the Hope Scholarship.
58 statutes.
So yes, it's
All in your budget. It's not approved.
like they did with 7069 last year, where they rolled a whole bunch of things, some that never passed out of committee, some that died in committee, some that, you know, it's Speaker Corcoran's priorities on education. Speaker Corcoran's priorities.
Any further business? Seeing none, meeting adjourned.